There's over 10,000 Michael Jordan cards out there, so where do you begin? About a year ago, I started a project called the Michael Jordan Hierarchy, where my goal was to help people understand their options in the Michael Jordan world. I wanted to eliminate that barrier to entry and provide a graphical illustration for new collectors or even experienced collectors to basically take inventory of which Michael Jordan cards are out there and are available. It's broken down into 4 tiers, with tier 1 not necessarily being the most valuable, but oftentimes the most valuable. I decided not to rank each card numerically 1 through 348, but rather to group them into tiers because I didn't want people to get distracted talking about specific rankings of each card. Each card's ranked in one of the 4 tiers, and they arrive in those tiers based on demand, aesthetics, scarcity, and value, with a heavy emphasis on demand. So tier 4 is 216 cards. It's the biggest of the 4 tiers. It's going to include not cards that are less valuable necessarily, but the cards that were deemed worthy to be included in the project, but didn't quite make that cut to tier 3, tier 2, tier 1. And so this 1998 Topps Round Ball Royalty base insert is a great example of a tier 4 card. Aesthetics, check. Scarcity, not quite there. Value, not out of this world, but it's a nice solid tier 4 card. There's a refractor version of this card, which that insert parallel made it up into tier 3 because the refractor takes it into a different level as far as value and as far as scarcity. Here's another great example of a tier 4 card. This is the 1997 Flair Hardwood Leaders number 4, one of the many Michael Jordan cards that features lightning in the background. This card checks so many boxes aesthetically. Aesthetics alone gets this card into the Michael Jordan Hierarchy project. A card that's relatively pricey when you put a PSA 10 label on it, but a card that can be picked up really inexpensively raw. Tier 3 consists of 81 cards. This is another great example of a tier 3 card. This is the 1996 Maximum Metal. There were 2 years of Maximum Metal. This one is the one that appeals the most to me. It's striking. It's one of those 90s products, metal, that a lot of people have great nostalgia for. It's the precursor to the metal universe. This card can get a little bit pricey, right? The tier 3 cards are going to be a little more expensive usually than the tier 4 cards, but aesthetics and the demand for the 1996 metal product itself is what puts this card safely into tier 3. Here's another tier 3 card, the 1997 Thrill Seekers. This was the innovation of the scope pattern that you see in ultra-modern cards today. This is one of those cards that I wrestled with about tier 3 versus tier 2. Ultimately, it ended up in tier 3, but I can't hate you if you think the card belonged in tier 2. It's quite possible. Tier 2 is where things get pretty serious. And so Tier 2 consists of 54 cards only, second only to the cards that are included in Tier 1. This one is special, and it's going to check the demand box for sure, because this 1992 Beam Team, while it is aesthetically pleasing and fantastic, this card right here was the first insert card that many people my age and even folks a little bit older than me, this was one of the very first Michael Jordan inserts that they chased from 1992 Stadium Club. This one's very special. This is one of the very first Michael Jordan insert cards that I added to my collection. So another Tier 2 card that people could argue belongs in Tier 1 is the Skybox Molten Metal Fusion. This is a beautiful card. It's a really intricately pinhole die cut with the image of Michael Jordan in the background from a real premium product of the 90s. I remember picking this card up not long ago, about 3 months ago, from Andy, one of the great dealers of Michael Jordan cards in the United States, B-Ball Card Exchange at the National in Rosemont. Tier 1 is the best of the best. You're talking about 27 of the best Michael Jordan cards in the world. It was not an easy task to identify those 27, and there's been a lot of conversation, a lot of debate, a lot of healthy debate amongst Jordan collectors about which cards belonged in Tier 1. But one card that was not debated that belongs in Tier 1 is this card right here, and this is the 1997 Metal Universe PMG. Precious metal gems. It's serial numbered to 50. It's got an unbelievable scope pattern in the background with the skyline of Chicago, with Jordan jumping straight out of the city of Chicago about to dunk the ball. Let me take you back to the criteria for the Michael Jordan Hierarchy project. Aesthetics, check. Demand, check. Scarcity, check. And value, most definitely check. If any card belongs in Tier 1, beyond debate, it's the 1997 Precious Metal Gem, serial numbered to 100. It's as red gets. It just so happens to be a perfect color match for the Chicago Bulls. And this card right here forms the foundational piece of my Michael Jordan collection. And I think it's sort of the face of tier 1 of the Michael Jordan hierarchy project. Not to romanticize this too much, but this is the card. This is the reason why we collect Jordan cards. It's the best card in my collection. It'll probably be the best card in my collection for quite some time. It's the red foil. It's the precious metal gems. It's from what I think is the greatest 90s basketball card set in the world, which is the original 1997 Metal Universe. This is truly one of those cards where it's the card, not the grade, that matters. In a nutshell, that's the Michael Jordan hierarchy. You can find it on the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel under the playlist Michael Jordan Hierarchy, and I hope it helps you on your Jordan collecting journey, wherever you may be on that spectrum.